Donald Trump's son is a paid advisor to Kalshi. He's also an investor and board member at Polymarket, Kalshi's direct competitor. So I am absolutely shocked to find out that the Trump regime then dropped federal investigations into both companies, handing them regulatory approval, and now they are putting Trump family policies up for people to gamble on. It's one of the most brazen conflicts of interests in modern American history, and absolutely no one is talking about it. First, you need to understand what this prediction market actually is, because this industry is spending a lot of time and money putting ads out, making sure you think of them as something sophisticated and futuristic and gamey, instead of what they actually are: gambling apps. And here's how they work. You log on, you pick a yes or no question, something that's simple. Will Trump fire the Fed chair? Will the US strike Iran? Will Republicans hold the House? And then you buy a contract. If you're right, you get paid. If you're wrong, you lose your money. Just like gambling. But the reason these apps are able to exist in all 50 states, including California, including Texas, where sports betting is still illegal, is that they're calling their bets event contracts. And they claim that they are regulated by the CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. It's the federal commodities regulator, rather than state gaming boards. And this whole thing has created essentially a nationwide casino with no boundaries, no state taxes, no consumer protections, none of the oversight that every other gambling operation has to deal with. And that's how you end up with situations like this. Don Jr. is a paid strategic advisor to Kalshi. They've announced it publicly. But he is also on the advisory board of Polymarket, Kalshi's main competitor. And that's all through his venture capital firm, 1789 Capital, which made a multi-million-dollar investment into the company. It's par for the course. The president's son simultaneously being paid by two competing gambling companies in the same industry. So Front Office Sports asked a Trump Jr. spokesperson, how is this possible? Their response? Don is committed to supporting the prediction market industry as a whole. So look, he's smart. He's not picking sides. He's cornering the market. Whatever company wins, Trump Jr. gets paid. And then, right on cue, the CFTC, run by the Trump regime, dropped its investigations into Polymarket, allowing the company to relaunch in the US after it had already been banned. And that was all under Biden, by the way. Biden banned them from the US. And they have been pushing to have regulation over these markets, over Polymarket, over Kalshi. And that's exactly what they've been lobbying for. I mean, what are the odds that Don Jr.'s appointment to both companies and the subsequent investigations being dropped are unrelated? What are the odds, right? But this gets even deeper, becoming a real national security issue. Right now, you can go on these platforms and bet on whether Trump will fire Jerome Powell, or whether the US will invade another country, or whether a specific executive order will pass. And look, we all saw that bizarre moment in January where Caroline Leavitt abruptly stopped a press conference seconds before a key bet over the length of her event would hit. That all sparked insider trading connections, but guess what? You can't do anything about it because they aren't regulated. Look, more than $2 billion are traded every week on Kalshi alone. That's up over 1,000% compared to the Biden years. And there's already evidence that this system's being gamed, more so than Caroline Leavitt. Before the US military captured Venezuela's President Maduro, an anonymous user on Polymarket placed tens of thousands of dollars betting that Maduro would fall. So the timing, it was suspicious, and several outlets investigated it. They called it insider trading. But this isn't just getting a tip on quarterly earnings or some report coming out of a corporation. This would have been someone with advanced knowledge of a classified military operation and using that information to make money on a gambling app, our national security. That person, by the way, the anonymous person, walked away with $410,000. No one charged, nothing happened, Why? Because the Trump administration and Bondi's DOJ abandoned the investigations into Polymarket. And Trump Jr. is on their board. Oh, but it does get worse. Because, of course, it's 2026 and everything surrounding the Trumps gets worse. The Trump Media and Technology Group, the company that Trump himself is the majority beneficiary of, he announced a partnership with Crypto.com to launch something called Truth Predict. Yes, Truth Social is now getting its own prediction market. The CEO of Crypto.com donating more than $11 million to Trump-affiliated political groups. No conflict of interest there, of course. So now we have a sitting president owning a media company, launching a gambling platform with a son being an advisor in the two biggest competing gambling platforms. And the federal regulator, they're clearing the way for all of them. And the policies are literally the subjects of bets being placed. Some of those bets being placed on highly sensitive operations. I mean, look, imagine you're the president and somehow you've managed to get past the horror of looking at yourself in the mirror. You announce a surprise tariff, markets crashed, but your family knew it was coming and they had money on it and they profited big. Would the public ever know? Not under this system. And just Tuesday, the Trump administration made it official. Michael Selig, the new chairman of the CFTC, filed a friend of the court brief siding with Kalshi and Polymarket in their fight against state regulators. He wrote that the CFTC, quote, will no longer sit idly by while overzealous state governments undermine the agency's exclusive jurisdiction. Translation, the federal government under Trump is now actively helping both companies that Trump Jr. is getting paid by to defeat the very states that are trying to shut them down. Nevada sued them. Massachusetts sued them. Other states took action. And the Trump administration's response? Well, as Selig said, and I'm quoting him again, to those who seek to challenge our authority in this space, we will see you in court. And yes, they are suing the states back. So now we don't just have Trump Jr. on the boards. We have the federal regulator that his dad, Donald Trump, appointed, and they are suing states on behalf of the companies that are paying Trump Jr. Absolutely insane. Dennis Keheller, the head of the Wall Street reform group, Better Markets, said about these prediction markets that they're just gambling sites. They're no different than FanDuel or DraftKings or a corner bookie or a casino in Las Vegas. The only difference here is that the Trumps are getting a cut of this one. 38 states had filed legal briefs against these platforms. All these states. And they've sent cease and desist letters. And now all of it is shut down because of Donald Trump and his son. And the federal government under Trump is on the side of the gambling apps, not the people, because the people running these apps are writing checks to Trump's family. The grift keeps on grifting. Every industry, everyone that needs regulatory approval, we see this over and over again. They suddenly find a Trump member or a donor willing to take a seat on their board. It is the fox guarding the hen house. Whether it's crypto or prediction markets, Truth Social, TV companies, any of it, it's a grift, and it is, in Trump's words, the art of the deal.
A corrupt congressman, his faithless henchwoman. Together they've sold justice to the highest bidder. But when a boy's death threatens their empire, they'll lie, bribe, kill to keep their secrets buried. Only one man remembers, and this time, the system's fixers are the ones getting fixed. A death in Arcadia. Every secret has a price,